Welcome, everyone, to the service for Frederick Henry Kamsel. On behalf of the family, I just want to thank everyone for being present here. In times like this, it is so important that we come together. And so it's wonderful that all of you are here to remember, to laugh, to cry, and to share in this memorial together. I'm going to open with some words of comfort and a prayer as we begin. This is a reading from John chapter 11, verses 25 through 26. I am the resurrection and I am the life, says the Lord. Whoever has faith in me shall have life, even though he die. And everyone who has life and is committed to me in faith shall not die forever. Let us pray. God of all consolation, in your unending love and mercy, you turn the darkness of death into the dawn of new life. Show compassion to your people in their sorrow. Be our refuge and our strength to lift us from the darkness of grief to the peace and light of your presence. Your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, by dying for us, conquered death, and by rising again, restored life. May we then go forward eagerly to meet him, and after our life on earth be reunited with our brothers and sisters, where every tear will be wiped away. We ask this through Jesus Christ the Lord. Amen. At this time I'll invite Malcolm to come forward. This time I'll invite the reader to come forward for the reading of the 23rd Psalm.
Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkness valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and your love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Merci.
Thank you all for coming. I'm going to share my story about when Fred and I went down the Mackenzie River in 2009. But before that, I'd like to just share a few thoughts about Fred. When we are a very close family, as evidenced by all the people that have come from there, and we've always been very close. So we keep in very close touch all the time. We did when there's 11 of us, brothers and sisters, and we do when there's only 4 of us now. I shouldn't say only 4, I mean 4. 4 is quite a few. But anyway, so I have to tell you a story about what George told the other ones. He said, when one of the councils takes, they all know about it right away. So when I usually talk to Fred once a week or whatever, and the conversation would go something like this. I'd say, hi Fred, how you doing? Good, good. Everything moving okay? Oh yeah, everything's good, yeah, this morning no problem at all. He says, I'm worried about Maisie though. It's been 3 days now for Maisie. We can say that, see she's not here. So, in our family, there's a huge age difference in our family. So, I mean, a lot of us weren't raised with the other ones, right? I was a month old when Toto got married. I remember a beautiful marriage. But with Fred, he left 2 years before I was born. So I have no childhood memories of Fred other than when he used to come for visits. But of course, I remember those very well. I think in 1960 was the first time that I remember that they came for Christmas and I opened the door, and I'd never seen him before, but I knew he was my brother. And when you're 5 years old and your brother's in the Air Force, it's a big thing for you when you come home. And so I've always remembered it. So in 2009, Fred had this bucket list item he had to take care of, which is going down to Mackenzie. Now, he'd already been down to Mackenzie a lot of times. Him and I did a lot of service on tugboats, and he went on Narita lots of times. So we both had been down to Mackenzie plenty of times, and it's funny because when I was on tugboats and we see guys in canoes going by, we say, what a bunch of idiots. Look at that. Guys are stupid in this weather. But if you're up in the wheelhouse drinking coffee and having a good time, you know. And so when Fred came up with this idea, originally it was with Con Haight, his good buddy. Con lived in Hayriver for a lot of years too, and they stayed friends for many, many years. And so after some time, Con started getting really sick, so he couldn't make it. So I thought about it for a while, and I called up Fred and I said, listen, I know you really want to go on this trip. I mean, I'd be happy to go with you if you want. And he said, yeah, sure, that'd be great. So we planned the trip together, and everything was planned really well. We came to Hayriver, and we had a satellite phone with us. We had GPS tracker, because all these people on shore were so, the family was so worried about, these 2 old guys going down the river. Fred was 74 at the time, by the way. And but we kind of got it all together, and God took us to Fort Providence and dropped us off at the at the Lower Providence dock there. And I remember when we were paddling away from the dock, and I was thinking, oh man, we've got 1,000 miles to go here, you know. And we started paddling away, and we got about 5 minutes away, and you know, we're just 100 yards or so from the shore. And Doug shouts out at us, "Way to go, guys! You got about 1 million more strokes to go now." So we got to the other side of Mills Lake that one first day, and we camped there. Now, the Mackenzie River is very slow in places, right? And so the next morning we woke up and there was a really strong headwind. And we had a hell of a time paddling because there was no current. And so if you stopped paddling, you'd actually go upriver. So we struggled all day, and at the end of the day we made about 7 miles, and we camped that night, and we could look back and we'd see where we camped the night before. We looked at each other and we go, holy man, this is going to take a long time, isn't it? But anyway, we got to head the line, which is a stronger current, and away we went, you know, and along the river, I mean, we had a wonderful time. I mean, just met so many nice people. We knew a lot of people in different communities and stuff in Fort Simpson, and the hospitality was just something else, you know. I was just reading a story, a young lady from Hay River, Jennifer Swallow, went down the river, and she said, her and her friend, after they stopped at every community, they'd paddle away and they'd say, "That's the friendliest community on the river." But they said that each time in every community. So it was so nice to meet all the, you know, they just treated us so well on the way, and you know, had a hot shower and a hot meal, and carried on the next day. So we had a lot of nights, you know, we sat around and enjoyed ourselves, and Fred had a little bit of scotch with him, courtesy of his son Jamie, and he enjoyed that, and beautiful times around the campfire there. And we would talk to the boats as they went by as well. So we got to Blackstone, and there's an empty boat coming along. We have to run into shore because the wake was too big for the canoes, you know. So we're on shore, we call up the boat, and it's Buster Helmer on there. Now Buster, as many of you know, an old pilot on the river and a good friend, and so it was so funny because the first thing that Buster said to us, "Are you guys nuts?" He said, "Yeah, well, kind of, you know." And so they go by on the Vic Ingram there, and a few minutes later, Buster called us up and he says, "Okay, I got a present for you." He says, "Pick up this ice cream pail." So we see a guy walking on the bar, and so we get a cream pail beside him. We paddle out there. We don't know what it is, but we paddle out there. We get out the ice cream pail, a couple of cold beer. Oh, wow, this is good. Now, of course, just a disclaimer here. It was non-alcoholic beer because, of course, you know that no sailors ever drink, right? So, that was very enjoyable. So as we carried on, and every night we'd sit there around the campfire, we'd have thoughts about, I remember one night, we were sitting here and, you know, the sun was going down, a beautiful night, and Fred said, "Just think," he said, "Mom came by here over 90 years ago. She came up on one of the stern hitters to go to the mission when she was 6, eh? She went to the Anglican mission there in River. And, you know, it's kind of a very special moment, you know. We thought about our grandfather and his brother traveling around the Arctic, and they traveled on the Mackenzie as well, and there's certainly a lot of history there. Our great-grandfather was with the Hudson's Bay Company, and he was the first, he was in charge when they brought the first steamboat on the Mackenzie River, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of history that we you know, kind of thought about on the way. And as we got further down the river, and we stopped in Normal Wells, and we stopped in Fort Norman, we had beautiful visits there, and I remember when we were going through the ramparts. Now, Fred was a pretty good canoeer. He'd done a lot of it, and I did a lot when I was a kid, but not really, you know, not a lot of fast water. So when we're going down the ramparts, there's all these banks of fallen in, there were back eddies everywhere. And so Fred was further out than me, And I'm paddling along, I get caught in this backache. And it spun me right around, the next thing I'm going upstream. And I look over and I see Fred, and he's coming by, and he shouts out at me, "Hey Terry, you're going the wrong way." Yeah, I know. So we kept going. It was wonderful, and I remember when we stopped on the other side of Fort Good Hope, and it was bad weather. There's a lot of rough water, and we couldn't carry on. It was raining. It was horrible, actually. And actually, that was the day that Fred ran out of scotch too. So you see that picture on the pamphlet there, him holding up his last bottle of scotch. But we persevered. We just waited for a couple of days. It's funny. I remember Jack Cooper came by in his RCMP patrol boat, and I called him up on the radio. And I had no idea he didn't know how we worked. And he says, "Oh yeah, the 2 council boys that are canoeing down the river. Hey, how you guys make it out?" And he says, "Oh yeah, we're fine, no problem." He goes, "Oh, okay, just checking, So then we kept going, and it was 25 days, and every night we set up the camp, and we stopped. I figured out was 125 places along the river. And we saw things that we never ever thought we'd see. When we were on the Norwegia, we'd always see the peregrine falcons at the ramparts, but there were peregrine falcons everywhere along the river. And it's funny when you're in the canoe, because they dive at you because you're coming by their nests. And they make a hell of a noise, and also you hear like a jet plane coming down at you, right? So it was a wonderful experience. And, when we got past Fort Good Hope, and after that, the river's not as exciting and stuff, but I remember you kind of have this rule, when you're going out in the bush with your brothers. The youngest one is always, he kind of gets bossed around, right? And so Fred was in charge pretty well. And so I used to get up every morning and I'd make coffee and start the fire and make coffee and stuff. And he wouldn't be stirring at all, right? And all of a sudden, when the coffee was, when the fire was on, the coffee was going, I hear him say, "Is the coffee ready yet?" Yeah, Fred, it's ready to get up. So, we had a wonderful time. And we got down towards the end of it there, we remembered back, and when we were starting the trip, we said, "Well, this is going to be a really good trip if we don't kill each other." And at the end of the trip, we looked at each other. We said, "Yeah, we did pretty good." So we actually had his truck sent down by NTCL down to Nunavut. So we got out of the river at Arctic Red, and we hitched a ride to Nunavut, and we picked up the canoe after we got the truck and headed south. But, I knew this trip was very special for Fred, and it was very special for me too, like when you're spend a lot of time with your brother like that. Doug and I grew up, virtually inseparable from the time we were very young, so it was a very good chance for me to spend a lot of time with Fred. I cherish that time very much, and I was very thankful that I did that. We will miss him.
Frederick Henry Council was born in Hay River, July 13th, 1935, same year as Elvis. My grandfather was Arthur Frederick, and my dad's name was James Henry, so that's where his name came from. When Fred was young, our dad had a trap line that he went to with the dog team. Fred told me stories of going out with Dad and nearly freezing to death. His memory of first going to school was in our back porch being taught by the nurse. when they built the Hay River Indian Day School. He attended that. My sister Margaret remembers Fred being a skinny kid. He was teased by his siblings when they found out he ordered a Charles Atlas bodybuilding course. Bobby said, "You should write and say, 'I finished your course, now please send the muscles.'" He heard of the Air Force when a couple of locals bragged they were joining. They had a big farewell and left, only to return a short time later, having failed the entrance exam. When Fred decided to join, he told no one and snuck out of town one day on the bus. He got in, and only then did people find out he had joined. He was 17 at the time. It was also several months before I was born. During his time at the Air Force, Fred was stationed in Clinton, Ontario, Tofino, BC, back to Clinton, Ontario, Crystal Springs, Mississippi. He was there on a course. The Canadian Air Force wasn't actually there. Sydney, Nova Scotia, Perron, Quebec, Moosonee, Ontario, Gibsonville, Ontario, North Bay, Ontario, Holbrook, BC, Beausejour, Manitoba, Prince George, BC, North Bay, Ontario, Goose Bay, Labrador, Chilliwack, BC, and he retired in Lumbee, BC. I'm sure the family has fond memories of all those places. During his time in the Air Force, he made many lifelong friends. I was talking to Earl, and he told me he knew Fred since 1964. I said, "You've known him as long as I have, because I don't really remember him much before that." When Fred retired from the Air Force after 37 years, he was still a young man and went to work on the North Warning sites along the Arctic coast. He was there for 5 years. After he retired for a second time, he joined the crew of the Norwegia as a historian and told stories of how the mountain range and the bend in the river were named after our great-grandfather. Our sister Margaret really enjoyed the time she spent with Fred on the river. After the Norwegia, not one to sit idle, he worked as a commissioner in the Lumbee area well into his 70s. Fred was always talking about his children and their achievements. James said, "One of my best memories of Dad was our expedition to Cape Breton in 1997.